I've been heavily involved in change management in all my years of work, and it seems to go in a cycle. Every couple of years there seems to be some change that the workplace does. Sometimes it can be quite scary, but for some people it can be a positive move. It can be something that's a new direction. And really, the way we work, sometimes we will often have the negative and the positive in 2-second thoughts. You go through all these emotions, and that's to be expected. Part of managing that is to actually reflect on how you deal with change. There's a few questions that you can ask yourself about change, and those questions are about, well, how did I respond to the last time there was change? Did it start off negative and move to become more positive? Was it something that I felt I had no control over? How did I find out about change? Did that impact on how I responded to change? So you've got to look at that and then work out, did that have a positive or a negative effect on me? What is it that triggers me? And you can take that to your manager and say, I've been reflecting on how I deal with change, and I find it very difficult because of this, this and this. And you could say, well, what I would really like is just to be kept informed of what's happening. So in your personal life, you will come across lots of changes. In your work life, change is something that is quite different and is managed often by people and implemented by people from above. One of the biggest changes for our industry is really around government and government policies and government funding. The standards they set, the policies they want implemented, and the practices they want us to do. And sometimes that change is then mandated. That has to happen, and there is no discussion about what would be good and what wouldn't be good. And then we have to do a change management plan. How are we going to manage that? So there's some points to that, and one is that you understand what the change is for. The second point is, do you have the leadership team really keen to do the change? Or are they just saying that, oh yes, we'll try it? You really want the leadership team to really be supportive of it. The third point would be about communication. You need to actually have a vision of where you're going to end up. And if you don't have that vision, they won't know where they're going and they won't know what the change is for. You really need to get people on board, involve them in the discussion as to how it's going to be implemented. It feels as though they've got some power and that they're not being disregarded. And the final point is that you have to move from change to business as usual and actually adopting it as this is the way we do work. If change is to be successful, you need people to lead the change. And a lot of it is about communication. A lot is about being believable and that they actually support the change and believe in it. So they're able to actually get the message out. They're able to talk to people. And part of that is also having emotional intelligence. They can read in a room who accepts the change and who doesn't. So generally in change, you have 3 groups of people. People who are early, who will adopt it really early, people who are sitting on the fence, and those people who just ignore it. You need a real change leader to manage all those 3 groups, and they need to be able to read and understand where people's emotions are. Some of the important questions that change agents need to ask is around, do people understand what that change is? Do people know what's expected? Can they see the change being modelled? One of the important things is that they see that it's successful, that it works. Are people capable of performing the new tasks? What training is required for people to undertake the change? And are they being recognised and rewarded for making those changes? Another really important question is looking at staff wellbeing during the change process. Do people, individuals, require some more emotional support through this process? Change management can take a long time at times. One of the important things that many people miss out on is celebrating the small steps, celebrating the success that you have along the way. If managed correctly, if communicated well, if people feel part of the process, then change will happen and happen more smoothly and can often bring a lot of positives to an organisation.